Welcome back, children of the night, to Blood and Syrup, a Vampire the Masquerade live play podcast. I am your host, Count Vlad von Lestat, drinker of blood, keeper of the chronicle, and all-around a spooky dude. The coterie are gearing up for Montreal's first Elysium in decades. Iris is reclaiming her identity alongside Emily in her apartment. Everett forced Ridley to take care of a situation where the Bear Boys kidnapped a police officer before they went shopping. And Ridley pretended to be a movie producer to get Kyle Minogue to create more bullets for the coterie and special vampire-killing gloves for Ridley. What horrors await them all at Elysium? Abandon hope, all ye who listen here. Ridley and Everett, you are headed to meet the vampire hunter Jocelyn St. James with the incredibly accurate and consistent Australian accent. Now, when you're listening to this, you're probably thinking, I don't know, his accent sure is drifting. Incorrect. That's just a fault of the audio medium. What you are hearing is a flawless Australian accent because she is from Australia and her accent is flawless. Having put in your order at Iris's condo for your punchy stabby glove, and having determined your outfits, you are off to meet up with Jocelyn to try and ascertain kind of what her deal is, what her objectives are. Everett, obviously, you've been kind of like stalked in a way by her for a bit. First showing up when you went to meet Mr. Ken for information, later seemingly saving you from the squad car mishap after that baby you borrowed. And now the time has come for some answers. So the two of you are going to meet her. Is there anything you discuss on the way over? Are you kind of trying to come up with like a unified plan, or like what's going
on? I think maybe just a quick review of like etiquette in terms of let's try not to kill her.
Well, what if we need to, though? Like, why? When does it become, okay, we fucking off her? Like, what if her problem is fuck all vampires? Well, we're vampires, so that's a fucking bad deal.
See, I think that's just not the case because she could have just burnt us up in the club with the rest of the vampires if her view was fuck all vampires.
See, this is
don't
why...
want anyone to fly off the handle here.
See, this is why you're the detective, because you're putting all the pieces together, and I'm paranoid. Okay, so we don't need to go in guns blazing, but, I mean, I don't even know why the fuck we're going. So we're going to meet her. What do you want from her?
Information. She puzzles me. It's an odd thing, you know, for us to be rescued by a vampire hunter. She wants us for a job, and we don't have those details yet, so...
All right, we got this fucking Drek we should ask about. Maybe she knows about that. Okay. Fuck it, yeah, all right. I'll let you take the lead. I'll be here. If you fucking need someone to do the old rippy gutsies, maybe there should be a signal. What would you want to say pocket. So I know fucking rippy gutsies?
When Ridley says like rippy gutsies, it's not a judgment on Ridley personally, but the thing that does come to mind is like a wild dog just like tearing something apart. So Everett just says sick 'em.
Oh, that's fucking good. That's good. Also, I don't think you'd say that by accident, which is the real key to these things. Otherwise, you know, at one time I knew a fucking guy who said, throw down if I say happy birthday. And he took me to a fucking birthday party. It was the worst. That kid will never forget. He was only 4.
That seems incredibly careless.
Yeah, don't worry. I hurt the guy, but only in the closet. I made sure the kid couldn't see. You don't want to mess with children. One could say it's one of my, I don't know, values, rules.
Right.
It's one of my convictions.
What an oddly specific phrase that surely has no mechanical value to you.
Nope, only about all British criminals talk about their convictions so much.
Yeah, I had convictions, but then I lost that page. So I'm just kind of a wild man out here on the streets. So
yeah, you've got touchstones, you know, as the person. Also very popular in British mobster circles.
Yeah.
That's why all the Guy Ritchie films, they're constantly like, all right, here's the deal. Touchstones.
Everyone seems to have a friend in those fucking movies. I don't fucking get it. They could all make a lot of money if they just bought a gun.
So that's kind of where the conversation kind of goes off to other fun stuff. But it's basically like cool heads going in. We've got like a kill word, kill phrase if we need it. But we're here to listen. We're here to talk.
Great. Clear eyes, clear hearts, can't lose.
Yeah, the vampire code.
Yeah. Miles,
Their eyes, no hearts, can't lose.
That's right.
Iris is having, as we've established, a pretty relaxing evening. So I don't want to fuck with the mythology we've already set up. I did want to ask, though, is there anything you think Iris would be doing other than just chilling out? We've established the bath is happening. The goal is to just not be bothered by anything. But, I mean, you're hanging out in the tub. You've got your fresh squeezed blood martini. Do you think there's anything else you'd be doing, or would you literally just be taking a second to enjoy sweet, sweet freedom and the return of Emily?
I should probably be texting Emily dress options for her to go find.
What kind of outfit do you think Iris would be aiming for Elysium?
Like an Oscar-worthy gown.
Okay. Which, in broad strokes, what are you imagining what kind of options do you think she'd be after? Because there's obviously a lot of different Oscar fashions, some of which are amazing, some of which are terrible. We talking like elegant classic Hollywood? Are we talking modern and thought-provoking?
Yeah, definitely like elegant Hollywood. She wants to look beautiful without standing out, but like maybe with a couple of weird like options thrown in, like some of the geometric stuff that Kate Blanchett wears sometimes. It's kind of like still classy and beautiful, but just like a couple weird structural lines.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to need you to please roll me a... let's go with wits and etiquette. I'd give you etiquette or leadership.
Let's go etiquette. One success.
Okay. So, given the short notice and the lack of Academy Awards season in the fair city of Montreal, your options are a little bit limited, but Emily is able to find you one good kind of classic, if somewhat understated, classic Hollywood outfit, and one kind of vaguely, not necessarily outrageous, but memorable outfit with... that's definitely a little bit more in your face about the design. Which of the two would you take?
What are the colors? Because that matters.
Okay. The out there one is we'll say like crimson. The classic Hollywood is black with gold trim.
Probably the more out there one.
Okay.
If it's red, then she's likely gonna gravitate to that.
Okay, great. So you send that off to Emily, who, despite being still vaguely feral, is an evening shopper. It's fine if Ridley and Everett can get away with it. I'm sure she can too. So she leaves to go sort that out, and you are left finally alone-ish, aside from the victims hanging up in the other room, in your condo. Meanwhile, you gentlemen, you pull up, and you notice that Jocelyn's actually outside the location she'd recommended that you meet at, and is kind of like gesturing down an alley. It's Ridley. I think actually both you and Everett would recognize this as the look of someone who might be concerned that they've been made. So she just walks off down the alley, but I think if you guys can roll me a streetwise, please, with, I think, intelligence or composure.
Tom,
Yes, sir.
because I haven't dealt with the darker side of these things before. I have 3 successes, but I also have 2 ones. Does that matter at all? Do they balance out successes, or is it only if you get no successes?
I think you have to fail the test in order to get bestial failures.
Okay, cool. Then I have 3 successes.
And I have 2 successes.
I'm just going to confirm that, though. One sec. Oh, of course it's not in the index. I forgot which book I was looking at. Not going to confirm it.
The useful book.
Rolling.
The good
It's,
book.
Storyteller. Yeah, Storyteller ruling. That. Okay, great. So, with those, I think, gentlemen, you would recognize the danger in just immediately following her if there seems to be some kind of concern that perhaps she's been made. So instead, you both start to make your way around the corner to kind of try and find a different entrance in. So making your way down a side alleyway, you find Jocelyn St. James, who you notice has somewhat dressed down for the occasion. She's not wearing the giant wide-brimmed hat. Her outfit is still very noticeable on the streets of Montreal, but she's clearly kind of tucked the hat away. You don't see, she's not open carrying a crossbow or any shit. She does have kind of one of those heavy Australian raincoats that are kind of treated in that beeswax kind of treatment. So kind of a big slicker, essentially. And Everett, you can immediately pick up the jangle of weapons kind of inside the coat, but this does seem to be kind of her incognito. It's incognito in a Ninja Turtle wearing a fedora and a trench coat kind of way, in that, technically a disguise, but the striking silver hair definitely is a pretty dead giveaway. But she smiles at both of you and says her catchphrase Tom knows an accent line. Well, good day, mates. Sorry about having to give you all a run around. Come around the corner here. Just thought I saw some ne'er-do-well fellas back there. After I killed them cops, they got a little bit of heat on me, eh?
Sure. I understand. Everything all right then?
She just kind of shrugs and she's like, right, yeah, sure, let's go with that. Maybe we should keep walking, though, eh?
Sure. And, yeah, Everett will go.
Ridley, you do not hear your trigger phrase. There's
No, Ridley will
Manchurian
just...
candidate for you today.
Ridley will just keep following along, just quietly in the back, watching the corners.
Everett will, give him a little, jab with his elbow and be like, well, she kills cops. Keep walking.
Yeah, the weird thing is that you're cool with it, I think that would bother you.
Oh, yeah, no, I had my whole, moment of processing that. I lived it. It was fucked up, and I have kind of putting on a face here, but...
Yeah, because you wouldn't really think that you'd be the one okay with the person who murdered the police officers and then planned to burn down a nightclub with everyone inside. You seem really troubled by that when it was us. But with her, it's cool?
It needs to be cool, if that makes sense.
I feel like you're a tremendously repressed man, I don't feel like you really just let your feelings out.
And Everett's face is inscrutably neutral, and he just kind of says, probably, and then walks on.
Excellent. So the three of you kind of make your way down this side alley, and eventually you come out into a small park that is obviously it's nighttime, so it's not tremendously full, and you're able to kind of pull up a discreet sort of bench type area to kind of lurk near. So with that, Jocelyn kind of looks around. You can see her shoulders relax a bit. She's like, right, I think we should be good here then.
So, Jocelyn. It's Jocelyn, right?
That's right. Jocelyn St. James.
Right.
Vampire hunter.
Do you know who we are? You seem to know a fair bit about us, but our introductions in order?
Well, I wouldn't say no. It's probably good manners,
Right. Well, my name's Everett Fry. This here is Ridley Beef.
You can call me Mr. Beef, I like to keep things professional.
Would you be the one they call the Riddler?
That's correct. You fucking nailed it.
So she nods and goes on to explain. She does seem like legitimately kind of like happy that you introduced yourselves. Everett, you get the sense she probably knows who you are, but
Yep.
now that you're actually like in communication, it's nice to actually have a conversation as people and monsters, as it were. So Jocelyn is like, right, now you're probably wondering why a vampire hunter like myself is teaming up with a couple of kindred. Is that right?
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Right. All right.
Ridley just nods. He's being like the stern, over-the-shoulder nodding guy, though he's dressed like Don Johnson in Miami Vice with women's sunglasses, so it doesn't have the full effect you'd imagine.
And I was gonna say, like, over the shoulder, you mean like at Everett's shoulder, right?
Yeah, he's behind Everett, like leaning against a wrought
Around
iron
the
fence,
shoulder,
so
yeah.
he looks even shorter. Yeah.
Yeah. Great. She says, all right, mate. Well, it's a bit of a complicated story, this, but short version is came over here looking to. There goes the accent. You know, I was having a good day, mates, and then it turned into a bad day for old St. James family. My husband was killed by one of you. Sucked the blood right out of him. Had to shoot him in the heart with put a stake in him, and then realized that doesn't do it. So had to chop off his head. Not a great day for me, but taught me a couple of things. He and I, we've been looking for the kindred for some time, and looking to put a stop to him, and they put a stop to him. So that was a lesson learned. But heard about there's some kind of it turned him real fast, and she goes on to explain that when she was kind of searching the vampire she killed after she hunted him down. She was able to find a couple of vials of what she now knows as Drac on the vampire. And as she continued her quest to kind of dig deeper into kindred society, she learned that like he turned real fast. Like he was bitten and then a couple moments later like went after her. And nothing in kindred society suggests that transformation like the embrace is not that quick, as you've seen with both Harvey and now Chonky. So she began to investigate substances that could do this, different clans that might do this. Obviously, you know, if any of you were proper Camarilla, the fact that she was able to breach the masquerade so effectively is quite concerning. But honestly, Everett, you were kind of on your way to that yourself before you were embraced.
Yeah.
So she explains that she and her husband were kind of like think if it was just two Xanders in Buffy. So just like a couple of people who realized that there were supernatural things but had no supernatural powers themselves, who kind of set out to try and right some wrongs, and unfortunately came up against the hard side of kindred society.
So I've got some Drac myself, if you don't mind me stepping in, Everett. I don't want to step on your toes.
The kind of funny thing is, I think every time Drac has come up, Everett hasn't been around. So I think this is all like pretty new information for him. So he's just like, by all means.
Yeah, so I can tell you they were serving that shit up at the club like nobody's business. I got fucking 9 vials that I lifted off a boy and sent him out. Is this shit like vampire superpower bullshit? Like, you take it and you fucking psycho? Because, okay, well, I mean, do you want one to do science on?
You can see that like she's like legitimately chuffed about this and the fact that you think she might be a scientist. So she's like, well, right, if you don't mind sparing it, it'd be right useful.
Okay, but how are you going to use it? I just want to know in advance, because there's a darker side of this where I picture you going off and taking this and being like, I could kill every vampire ever, and then we have to put you down, and Everett seems to like you.
So no, that doesn't seem to be her intent. She truly does want to study it because basically, as she continues to explain, her investigations led her to what basically almost seems like a drug ring that seemed to have operations in Sydney, but then as she kind of killed her way through that, she discovered that they had international reach, and her search actually brought her to Toronto, or at least she was on her way to Toronto. because there were signs of a major Canadian operation, but also she got word through some particularly gruesome kills of the meeting that occurred in the CN Tower, and her goal was to kind of like, oh well, I may not be able to solve this drug thing, but if I can kill 2 high-ranking kindred, more the better. Unfortunately, someone got there first. So she arrived kind of on Canadian soil just in time to hear about the CN Tower attack. And as a result, her lead was cut off. So turning back to the drugs, she was able to trace them to the Batista Syndicate operating out of Montreal, which has in turn brought her here. That said, obviously things are in a bit of a state of flux. As a vampire hunter with some understanding of kindred society, Jocelyn's quite concerned about the power vacuum here in Montreal. The fact that the leader of the Sabbat here, had left to go fight in Jenna, but then had died in the CN Tower attack, meant that a bunch of incredibly careless, literally and figuratively bloodthirsty vamps were in full control of Montreal, but also knowing how tantalizing an opportunity that would be for other clans, she basically decided that this would be a good place to kind of lay down stakes, LOL, and set up shop, because any power vacuum like this is going to have bad ramifications. And if Drac is moving through Montreal, the odds of what happened in the nightclub happening elsewhere are very high. So she goes on to explain that based on her observations, if Drac was being distributed in the club, odds are a bunch of humans took Drac and essentially became feral thin bloods. Now, a lot of this doesn't make a whole fuck ton of sense to either of you, given that you're not particularly well versed in kindred society as of yet. But I think...
so you take it, you come out like a crazy shit vampire. Okay.
Yeah, Ridley, you would know from the Note Nostra that thin bloods are the eventual kind of like fear of kindred society. They're generationally bloodlines that are so far removed from their antediluvian that they're almost not kindred, like they're on the line, and as a result can't pass the blood on because they're literally, the blood is thin. So Jenna, the massive war going on in the Middle East with like all the old school vampires, is thought, like the thin bloods were thought to be the coming of that. If once all the bloodlines are too diluted, that'll be vampire apocalypse. But the world continues to march on. So clearly someone fucked up somewhere along their line. The Note Nostra would think this is kind of bullshit, but they would warn you that thin bloods are killable like you'd kill a human. Like they take damage. They can walk in the day. They're basically Gordon Stevenson was a thin blood. Okay. So basically they can walk around in the daytime with like minor irritants, but they also hurt real bad with human weapons even. So all this to say, you'd be warned that A, they're highly ambitious because they want better blood, but B, I think given that you're a bruiser and a murder type there, Ridley, you would know like, yeah, vampires you gotta like rip off the head and like really fuck them up. Thin bloods, you can kind of shoot if you need to. But nevertheless, yes, in a nutshell, feral vamps and that turn much faster. They're not strong, but they do turn incredibly quickly.
All right, so yeah, take a while of this. I guess we can keep an eye out for the source of this one, because I'll tell you, from what I know of the people I deal with, if we've got some sort of vampire underground selling shit drugs that turn people into bloody little psychopaths, I think we should, let's just say, sund a lot of them so that they don't get to do it no more.
Right, yeah. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you both about. You're a bunch of bloodsuckers, not great, but kind of need your help. And she kind of like nods to Everett. She's like, and from the looks of this one, you all need my help too. So what do you say to an alliance of mutual interest?
I say we just need to agree on the long-term goals, because I'd hate to agree on something this week and become enemies next week. That would be so depressing. It sounds like what you're looking for is a little bit of fucking stability. not psychopaths, not people out there fucking eating women and children left, right, and centre. So why don't we? Yeah, we can help you take out the fucking scumbag vampires, and at the same time, I think it's in your best interest if you know we started running the city, because then we could enforce the rules in a way that is mutually acceptable. You know,
You're
vampires
not,
what?
I was saying, Miss St. James, you're not Inquisition, are you?
No, mate. Kind of doing my own thing. Costs
Right,
me greatly, but it's what I'm doing.
All the Inquisition we've encountered so far, they work in groups, and you're solo, eh?
That's right. Just me.
Yeah.
Well, me and my crossbow.
Of course, sure. So, I think Ridley's got a point there that you don't need to play by their rules. You can play by your own, and I think it's in your best interest to form a longer-lasting alliance, something that can remain beneficial past this job.
Yeah, so basically, she agrees to your terms, because that's basically where her head was at as well, explaining that of everything she's seen of Kindred Society, your coterie seems to be an odd mix of, like, chaos and to some extent some kind of moral underpinning. She's a little bit delighted by the fact that you tried to return the baby rather than eating the baby. Seemed to score you some points. But
So much about the rest of vampires.
Yep. But also, I think the fact that you're outsiders helps a lot. The fact that Iris has been and continues to be a high-profile person who sort of throws her weight around, and the fact that, like, one of you's a cop and one of you's a mobster has given her a degree of comfort in approaching you, because you guys really are kind of like the island of misfit toys when it comes to Vampire Society. And there's something, I think, approachable about that, and understanding, like, yeah, you don't have a bunch of, like, you know, 8th generation vampires over your shoulder being like, no, you gotta do it this way. Y'all are kind of on your own.
That's such a wild perspective to take, because I feel like Everett, like, is looking at the coterie as like a powder keg that's, like, gonna go off at some point.
Yeah, but Everett's been inside. She's been lurking on rooftops like Batman. To Batman, you seem real, like, A-okay.
I was going to say, Everett also has no concept of what other coteries are like.
That's true, too. Yeah.
Well, I mean, she's observed you with, like, Dederick as well, and, like, it, again, just the tone of the coterie seems different than a lot of the vampires she's killed. I mean, seen, killed. But all in all,
so is your Drac?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Ryan, the only thing I would like from you, though, sir, is because we're moving as we kind of continue to delve further and further into the system and our adventure. I want to make sure we're also leaning on the dice in a way that we often do with our other systems, particularly for social encounters. Up till now, it's been a lot of, like, Iris Dunn, social fighter, where, like, it's
true, yeah.
Iris with, like, a fistful of dice dealing with social stuff. But there are a lot of skills that aren't, like, impress a room full of people with poetry that are, like, is she on the level? Can you trust her? How much can she trust you? So for both of you, I'd like you to roll a check to help solidify this. She seems on the level from what you've seen, but who knows? I would take, in this case, insight, streetwise, or awareness. Not investigation.
I was going to say, is this
Timeless,
us figuring her out or us trying to pitch ourselves to her?
Let's say you trying to pitch yourselves to her. She has to decide whether, again, this is, as you were talking about in terms of compromises, she has to kind of break some code to...
Cool. I was going to say, and a rarely used skill, would leadership count for this if he's
Sure.
pitching an alliance?
Yeah, I'd
Cool.
take leadership. Sure.
And then what do you want from attributes?
Leadership and, well, it depends what you're trying to do. If it's, I think in your case, Ryan, you're on the level. You're literally just laying out what you think is correct. So I would say intelligence, resolve, or composure. Maybe even charisma, actually. I'd say it's probably one of those. And Tyler, for you, again, you're being very earnest. So I would say composure, I think.
Yeah, I do know. I'll go with composure for Ridley as well, because I feel like as opposed to having to really sell her on this idea because the idea is genuine, he just needs to stay put together enough to not seem like an idiot.
Okay. So, sorry, you mentioned it was composure and... Insight or
yeah,
leadership?
Tyler, you can take insight, awareness. Insight, leadership, persuasion, streetwise.
I'll do streetwise then.
I'll let Tyler answer first.
Oh yeah, okay. I'm rolling, but I'm also adding I'll mention just that there is a dramatically there is I think a willingness to believe her, kind of like just wanting so badly for like a human like did all of this, did like succeeded where I failed kind of thing.
Yep.
So I rolled my regular dice. Now I'm rolling my 3 hunger dice for the rest of my roll, because my roll is 6. So here we go. Okay. So that's that's 2 regular successes, and then 2 crits, one of them on a hunger die.
Tom, I also got a messy successy. We have
Double
a double messy successy.
Well, shit. Never before have we had 2 messy successes occur on the same roll in 2 drastically different desires. It's one thing when it's like, how hard do you kick open the door? It's another thing when one of you is presenting a case for why a notorious skilled vampire hunter should team up with you. The other trying to make sure that you can trust this vampire hunter who's been stalking you. And somehow the beast that lives within the blood, that lives within both of you, has seized control of the actions. Off air, Tyler, you'd mentioned that you had a pitch. Ryan, I'm going to get you to hang tight on yours, but
That's fine.
Tyler, what do you got?
So just to recap, I was rolling to trust Jocelyn.
Yeah, Ridley was making the case for why you should team up, and I think you using your kind of investigator know-how. Also, I think being smart enough to distrust that initial instinct of like, oh, she's like me, and to be like, wait, am I just projecting all that? So that's where you're at. So
I was thinking about like the nature of like these kinds of successes and the way like the beast kind of supersedes your critical thinking. And I think that's kind of just what it is with this, where it might not happen right now because I'm rolling to trust someone. I think it might be like at some point in the future, I won't think critically about something regarding or related to Jocelyn St. James, because I'll trust her too implicitly. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking as well. Okay. For those of you listening and watching, you didn't see the 5-minute, what would have been a panic smoke if I smoked out on the balcony, where I just stared off into the middle distance, drinking my coffee and or my tea rather, and pondering the mysteries of life. That's also kind of where my head was at. So I like that. Yeah, you see so much of yourself in her, and in what you could have been, and where life could have led you. That. In a way, not unlike a show parent hitching their hopes on their child in a pageant, like if she can succeed in her quest, that might, like, I guess that's your redemption, sort of, yeah. Ryan, did you have a pitch for this? Because I've got a pitch for this.
I mean, I've got a pitch, but do you want to go? It's all good, baby. You're the god of my universe here.
I mean, I was kind of digging what Tyler was throwing down, which means I'm kind of curious what you think this would mean to Ridley. So what do you got?
Mine's environmental.
Okay.
But I'll throw it out there. Because I think Ridley was aiming for, these are long-term goals and we should team up and we should be there because it's best for the city. And with his bestial failure, if we imagine that the 2 toughs that she was worried about, who seem very capable and very dangerous, come out in a sudden ambush, Ridley just brutally takes them apart instinctively at like a gore spraying 2 dead guys in pieces, and turns around and he's like, so I think there's going to be like a nice future for us. Like, it's just horrific gore, which is like, if there's an alliance, it's solely because the city is scary and the vampires are scary, so you don't want to be without friends. It's not based on like trustworthy, sane coterie builds beautiful future.
Yeah, I dig that. Okay, so here's the complication I'm going to add to that, because I was also thinking along those lines. But to make things a little bit more complicated, she just kind of like, she looks at you, and I mean, like, Ridley, you pick up that Everett seems to be kind of like nodding in a slow kind of like Sam Elliott saying like, you didn't, rope that bull this time, but next time you'll be fine. Like, just like a knowing kind of like, I approve this message kind of nod. And you can see that she's kind of smiling at you. And I mean, admittedly, this is also the woman who replaced the sprinkler system with gasoline to burn a club full of people down. So, like, kind of game recognized game on the you and her front. She's not like, Captain America, super virtuous. She's like, get the job done. She seems a little on the fence, but you kind of she says, I think might be able to get to quite like that. Yeah. At which point you hear the gunshots as these sort of like thugs that she was worried were following her do kind of like descend from all corners of the space. So given that you rolled a messy successy, Ridley, you are not caught flat-footed. Instead, like, having also heard like just even the hint of an I might be okay with this, fangs out, and you leap at these guys. Everett, there are gunshots as these dudes rush in. What do you do?
It's purely reacting. I think as gunshots are heard in such close proximity, immediately reaching for his own gun, but also trying to assess the situation as it's like changing so rapidly. How many are there?
There are 4 that have kind of come in from, for lack of a better term, north, south, east, west. And you can see they're clearly rushing all 3 of you. The sense you get is that they were likely trailing Jocelyn in the off chance that she met with Kindred, and now they're trying to drop said Kindred. That said, you see her like kind of lurch forward, and she manages to like whip a throwing dagger into one of their shoulders. But you see from kind of the way she staggers that she's clearly been hit. So I guess in terms of like a situational awareness piece, this isn't like a she led them to you. She's on their team. This is they were following her.
Too, yeah.
Yeah.
Then I would my next like moves or whatever would be to cover her and protect her. As a squishy
Great.
human.
So Everett, you kind of like leap forward as she staggers kind of against the bench. She's clearly trying to get some form of cover. And you kind of like sort of leap over her, I assume gun out. Ridley, you are, again, this is off your messy successy, so you're in somewhat bestial mode. What's your plan?
I think he'd go for the biggest guy of the ones coming at them. And it would just be that like weird saber tooth leap. And basically just go, hello, big boy. And then he'd try to land with both feet on the guy's feet to pin him in place. And his goal would be to punch through his stomach to grab his spine and then to push his chest with leverage and just fold him over backwards.
So normally I'd be like, I don't know, man, but messy successy. So go ahead and roll this is a classic brawl strength for you there, sir.
Great. Yeah, normally I wouldn't pitch something so gruesome, but again, messy successy just makes it its own thing.
Yeah. When in messy successy Rome, do as the messy successy Romans do.
So Tom, with a brawl grappling strength check, I roll 7 dice. I rolled 7 successes. And it's a messy successy.
Oh, your party clothes. Oh no.
Wow. Holy shit. Time slows in this small Montreal parquet, built and named in honor of classic Montreal citizen Jean Chrétien, lesser known cousin of former Prime Minister Jean Chrétien. So in the Jean Chrétien parquet, a scene of carnage unfolds. Everett, you just got your gun out, kind of like standing over Jocelyn. Took you a second to get there. You whip the gun out. I think it's one of those like badass slow motion, like coat flips open, draws, only to see like just next level carnage. Ryan, given that you got a messy successy off a messy successy and we're in messy succession right now, I want to make sure this one counts for a bunch. So just tell me how you kill these 4 men.
Great. So he rips the first guy in half, and it's just a spray of blood blinds the second and third guy. And the top of the torso folds back, but actually comes off. So he throws it and hits the fourth guy with the top of the first guy. He jumps towards the second guy, and he just comes right down on him, and it's just thumbs in both eyes, as the other guys are like screaming and fighting with the corpse and sprayed with blood. And the one he's got is just shrieking, and he's just riding him like a pony as the guy does like a chicken dance. His thumbs go into his brain.
Yep.
And then he leaps off of him, and he gets the next guy, and he grabs him by the crotch and by the collar of his shirt, who's the one who's now dropped the torso. So the other guy's still bloody-eyed and can't see anything, and he just picks him up, and it's just hitting him against the wall of the alley, just head first, until there's no head anymore, just spraying blood. And then I think the last guy, he'll pick him up by his ankles and whirl around, and then he's going to throw him up so he hits a fire escape from the bottom and then falls like 2 stories down to splat on the ground, and then he's just going to stomp his skull in on the dirt.
God damn.
Truly it was a somewhat messy success. Damn, man, you've just, to Tyler's point, game over that sweet, sweet suit, but damn, it feels good to be a gangster. You murder the shit out of everyone, rebaptizing the Jean Chrétien courtyard in blood. You look back with just a big fucking grin on your face to Everett. Everett, what's your expression having just witnessed this ballet of carnage?
Horror, I think. But also like awe, like he's not seen Everett move like this. I mean, like he's somewhat aware of what Everett's capable of, but to see him
Ridley.
just, man, I'm doing it too, huh? Goddamn, he's seen what Ridley's capable of, but he hasn't seen him just kind of like completely go off on 4 like mortals. Like
yeah, because you didn't see the hunting in the woods or any of that either. A lot of Ridley has been like superhero action to the direct left of other things going on.
Yeah. So yeah, it's that mix of like he's in complete awe of what he's seeing and just also kind of horrified, sort of like a glad he's on our side kind of thing. But I think he's also immediately like his mind is going to like, we need to leave. Like the threat of immediate violence is gone, but now this is a fucking crime scene and we need to go.
I will also say that throughout this montage of destruction, we cut away to Iris 3 times. Miles, what are the 3 dumb things Iris is doing that we cut away to during the super murder?
Mindlessly and like squinty-eyed scrolling through hair and makeup ideas for tomorrow.
I was gonna say, yeah, it's a montage that takes place over AC/DC's Thunder, so it's just cutting back and forth from horrific violence, just scrolling.
Her like liking photos of koala bears on Instagram,
Very thematically appropriate. Yeah, dig it.
and her sleeping. No, sorry, she's in her cozy human bed pretending to sleep.
Oh, gross. Just
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Just trying.
like literally me trying to sleep. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
and
get
we
that.
like fade out from that to the ruined body of the guy who hit the fire escape in the same position on the alley floor.
Yeah, weirdly though, Iris somehow seems more mad about it.
Yeah, the dead guy's more relaxed.
Yeah, great. Excellent. So, Everett, your instinct is correct. This is fucking bad news bears. So you kind of look down to Jocelyn and notice that she hasn't gotten up. The back of her jacket is shredded, and you can smell blood on the air.
I'm gonna pick her up.
As
like
you
the
do,
bodyguard
she
style.
when you turn her over to pick her up, she just like coughs out a bunch of blood. If you were to guess, and because someone rolled a messy successy on convincing just how much she might want to follow Ridley Beef, she has been lung shot and is fading fast.
Oh, well, fuck me. All right, so Everett, awkward question, because you're the one who gives a shit about Jocelyn St. James. How do you feel about putting in another kid in our fucking basement? Because I feel like you might be having twins, bruv.
Here's my hang up. She just told us the story about how she killed her husband when he turned. I don't know what to do. I don't.
Well, I don't know. No, but she said he turned fast. He was one of those fucking drug vampires. What happens if we put 8 of these in her? Why are you fucking takes out 8 vials of drag?
Everett is very upset at that suggestion. It's like, she is not a science experiment.
Okay. Well, the question is, do you want to turn her into a vampire, or do you want her to die, or would you like to go around that corner and maybe I'll come out with a vampire in a minute?
Tom, how close are we to the nearest hospital? Like like you've made it pretty clear what the options are, but is there?
She took a fairly close range spray of sawed-off shotgun shot to the back. So, like, close-ish. You're also soaked in blood. Or at least Ridley is.
All I'm saying is she could be the first bear girl. I think it's fucking time for us to diversify the gender of our employees.
So 2 things I would like to add to this gumbo we're cooking up here. Ryan, currently your only lead on Drac is her. So I don't know if that affects... I'm not sure how invested Ridley is in the Drac situation, but that's something to consider. Tyler, I would like to flag the blind spot we discussed, or rather the gap in understanding.
That's a good point. Yes, thank you for reminding me of that.
But I actually don't know how that plays here, because we established that it was you seeing kind of yourself in her mission. However, a messy successy is the beast, not the human side of you. So I wonder if that starts to manifest as you're starting to lose your humanity as, well, the best way she can accomplish her mission in my redemption is if she lives forever.
Something has occurred to me. In the rolling to trust Jocelyn St. James, we would consider a successful roll to trust her. Is that the way that is supposed to work mechanically?
Yep.
So taking it a step further, maybe I've kind of, in a very short amount of time, seeing how capable she is, seeing a lot of myself in her, maybe I've fallen for her a little bit. And so I think that I'm holding her, and the messy successy plays out here. Fuck, I said it.
We did it.
We got you.
That's a serious wrap on the show. Good night, everybody.
46 episodes.
I think it plays out here where there is no judgment call to make. It's just I'm holding her and I sink my teeth into her neck.
Oh, shit. Okay.
I think at the same moment, Ridley will call a Dinkeldorf cab. Like, he's so blasé about her getting turned that he's like, oh, I'm going to need a fucking ride because I look like fucking shit. So wrap it in plastic, boys.
And you just hear, oh, right away, Mr. Beef, we'll be right there. Because, I don't know, they're from a 1930s radio call-in show. Ridley, how do you feel about watching Everett just very casually make a new vamp?
Well, you know what? I've seen him do it before. What I like is it's a choice. You know, I feel like that's his thing, is he's like, finally, this guy's like getting down in the dirt with the rest of us. Like, this lady said that her husband died. She staked her husband and she's totally anti-vampire. And he's looking at her and going, you're useful. You're a vampire now. And like, that's a good criminal decision.
She kind of manages, as her eyes are kind of like rolling back into her head. She looks to you, Ridley, and kind of just says like, I can't be one of them. One of you. Might. Still Australian.
This ain't gonna sound terribly charitable, but actually you can be. You know, Fotty couldn't. The fucking guy draining you. So what I'd say is, from what I've seen, 3 months from now, you're going to be making vampires left, right, and centre. So take a breather. You've already a fucking psychopath murderer. Now we're just going to make you evolve to the next level. Take the gift.
Also, this is a weird thing from Ryan, technically, but I think Tyler has to roll to not throw up the blood because she's not a vampire.
Well, is it different for turning? We went over this with one of the boys, and I can't remember what it was.
We did make you roll for it.
Okay.
And it's not in terms of the turning. It's I think like you need to ingest her blood and then you need to feed her yours. And the question is whether you can actually stomach enough of her blood to make the transfer.
Okay. How does
very
that
scientific.
then? Is that a willpower thing?
Yeah, it's the Ventru Bane, which I believe I have bookmarked.
Resolve plus awareness.
All right.
Or you can spend willpower equal to your Bane severity, but I have no fucking clue what your Bane severity is. So resolve plus awareness is your test.
Resolve plus awareness. And we're using hunger dice in this roll as well, I assume?
Yes, I think so.
I think you have to in every check, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And hang in there, Miles. We'll cut to you in a sec.
Okay, so I've got my 5. The orange ones, or no, actually I need it to be, the ones that are not orange will be my hunger dice because I have more hunger dice than non-hunger dice. 1, 2, 2 successes.
Okay. Yeah. You manage to keep it down. As you kind of like lower her a bit to like feed her the blood, you quickly like slice your hand off one of your fangs. She actually Ridley, you see her. Everett's fully focused on the embrace. You see her reach into her jacket and pull out a stake, and she seems to be like angling it towards her chest. What do you do?
Yeah. I think he's just going to, without saying a word, just politely take the wrist, take the stake, toss it, and just let it continue. Like he's not going to let Everett get iced for this, but he's not going to bring up that she tried to do it either because she's having like a stressful day.
Fair enough. Her hand in the wrist like just closes into a single middle finger, and then she receives the blood. Meanwhile, Iris Dunn, you are also having an eventful night. You can't sleep.
I can't sleep.
So what do you think, having stared at many a ceiling while trying to sleep myself, what do you think Iris thinks about when she lays there and stares at the ceiling on this night of nights?
I honestly think she's just pretty pissed off that she's a vampire right now. Like she's just going back to like all of the things that led her up to this point. She's going through like, I should have done that, and I should have done that, and I don't get to do this anymore. And she's just getting more and more rageful.
So it's one of those weird things where like because you've now regained a modicum of control, suddenly you're like, oh, now I can be mad about things again.
I have to process. But she's like, every time she has a thought, she's like kicking and tossing and turning the sheets around and like putting on a face mask and tearing it off in anger. You know, that classic montage of someone desperately trying to sleep. Well, there's a loud party upstairs, but it's in her own head.
I mean, we've never lived through that. What is the angry sleep montage song? Or is it juxtaposed with like happy, restful music?
It's probably something by Paramore. Some angry lady anthem.
Love it. After a couple hours of this, because admittedly their whole night is going on while you're doing this, your phone buzzes, and you assume it's Emily because she's been gone long enough, and also the store should be closed by now. So you kind of roll over in the dark, and you see it's a text from Iggy. What is Iggy listed as in your phone?
Shitface.
So you get a text from Shitface that just says, "Hey, got in a bit of trouble, survived a fire. I think I might need your help. How do you feel about vampires? ... question mark poop emoji."
I throw my phone across the room because I'm sick of this shit.
So your phone shatters against your wall just as Emily opens the door and goes, okay, so a new phone tomorrow. Well, I mean, I'm sure Apple will have released 3 since that one came out last month. So that's good. Anything I should be aware of?
Yeah, you need to text Iggy and tell him to come to my apartment, like, now.
Wait, you want to bring Iggy here?
He has to.
Okay. I got your dress. It was a little bit difficult. All the Le Chateau's closed, so that really closed off some of my options.
Tom. Do you really think Do you really think that that's where women go?
No.
They do it in Montreal. It's very classy. It's like how Pizza Hut is every restaurant in Demolition Man.
Yeah. I'm not going to be allowed to go to Montreal.
That is absolutely not something that we would say.
I know, Miles. I know. It's a Tom joke. I get to make those because I have the microphone. Yes, so Emily has bought you a dress.
Clothing from Loblaws.
Yeah, from Joe Fresh.
Joe Fresh.
Joe Frey, because it's in Montreal. So she's bought you a dress. Unfortunately, because it was kind of late at night, she basically had to do the bane of all late night shoppers, which is just pick a place she thinks might have it and commit real hard. So she bought the only thing that she could. I would like you to please roll me a d10. This is not any of your skills per se, but basically this is on a scale of 1 being like very subdued version of a loud outfit and 10 being like Lady Gaga at the Super Bowl. What did you roll?
4.
A 4. Okay, so this is actually, I would argue, probably a pretty good fit for you. It's a more daring cut, but it is also subdued enough that you know you're not like at Sia levels of like, oh, she's doing a thing. So yeah, I'd say Iris overall you're quite happy with the pick. Do you order Emily to? I guess you would want Iggy here tonight, not tomorrow, since tomorrow's Elysium. Or did you want to see him tomorrow?
No, we should deal with him tonight.
Okay. So Emily makes the call, and she kind of says, "Have the snack packs been giving you any trouble?"
No, they're
good.
delicious.
Oh, great. Okay, excellent. I'd hoped I'd subdued them enough. I must say, it's strange getting used to the strength and also like the desire to rend and tear is kind of new. How have you been handling that?
It comes in waves. How are you handling it?
Well, I mean, the first night there was a full moon, and I mean, I don't remember killing Dr. Skull. I'm not that bummed about it. He seemed like he was kind of an asshole. But yeah, I don't really remember much. I remember waking up naked in an alley, which was alarming. But luckily I'd killed some people nearby and was able to get some clothes for the day. But then I found my pack, so that was nice.
You have a pack. Tell me about them.
Oh, I'm not allowed to say too much. But you remember that first night when we arrived and like I stayed up all day with a shotgun ready to like blow away any wolves who came to the crazy brother's house? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Turns out, huge mistake. Those wolves are all right. They're honestly they've got some interesting stories to tell actually about Montreal. Also. And I'm sure you may already be savvy to this. The brothers are kind of suspect. They were saying they've been around for a long time, like really long time. One of the wolves said that her mother's father's grandfather's grandfather was talking about these same guys. They've been here a long time.
Interesting.
Like since they were making maps of since the settlers came here, kind of a long time.
Interesting.
Yeah, so not sure if we want to keep working for them, but you're the boss. In any case, they're pretty good. Yeah, they're good folks. I'm looking forward to introducing you at some point. It'll be kind of weird, like, oh, you got to meet my girlfriend's parents kind of thing. But like, they seem like cool people. Have you met any werewolves?
No.
Miles, can you roll me a manipulation and subterfuge check, please?
Oh, one success.
Emily just kind of smiles and nods and says, "Oh, okay. Well, I hope you like these ones." At which point, there is the buzzer goes on, I guess, your phone, your vaguely shattered phone, and Emily manages to like swipe enough on the shattered screen to get the doorman, who announces a guest has arrived for you, Mr. Ignatius Dunn.
Yeah, you can send him on up. It's my brother.
And so, moments later, there is a knock on the door, and Emily just kind of half smiles at you and says, "Would you like to answer, or should I?"
I'll answer.
So, Iris, you make your way to the door. You open it, and sure enough, there stands your good for very little brother, Iggy, who's admittedly looking a little crispy from the club fire. And he just says, "Hi, sis. Really wish you'd gotten me out of that jail." And then he throws a vial of Drac into your face. Iris, you get a face full of Drac, and just as it hits your eyes, in shock, you feel a bunch of it go into your mouth, some goes into your nose. You can see that Iggy he's trying to look defiant, but he also clearly looks kind of horrified and vaguely apologetic. And as the armed men with him push past into the apartment, you think you hear him say, "We're square now, right?" And you find yourself just fucking like manhandled by four big kind of tactically dressed, unfriendly looking folks. You hear a snarl of rage from the door behind you as Emily has clearly come and seen what's going on. But let's talk about you for a second. You get hit with this, and for a moment, your vision goes red. You can feel a pulse that you do not have. And it's as your body begins to absorb the toxins from the drug, you feel almost a familiar energy to it. Can you please roll me a resolve and resolve, and let's go with insight, please, or awareness. There's an occult score on these things. None of us have a cult. What is this? Fucking Mythos? Get out of here.
Yeah, that's 5 successes with 2 of them critical successes.
Hunger dice?
No. Oh, no, honey. I
well
ate.
fed.
I
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you are
I'm
well fed.
very
Yes,
well
yes,
fed.
yes, yeah. You're someone coming home from a buffet. You're in good shape. Okay, great. So Iris, you have a horrible moment of. I don't think you've really been in on the Drac conversations per se, but anything thrown in your face that immediately makes your senses go, well, fucking wonky is not great.
You did hear about it at the police station party when DJ
That's
Miller
right.
was talking about
That's
it.
right.
And
That's right.
your brother, I think, was even talking about it, or cops were talking about it.
Yeah.
About your brother holding some.
That's right. Okay, so I think it would be safe to say that you have enough knowledge of this to kind of know that whatever it is, it's bad news. But as you're kind of like pulled to the ground by these big fucking SWAT guys, you you have a moment of disorientation, and then suddenly things begin to become very, very clear. Like all of your sentences are incredibly heightened. You get a bit of that heat vision that movies like Predator have, where you're just seeing, like, you can see like Iggy's pulse outside. You can see Emily's pulse behind you. You can feel these guys don't have pulse. But you've got almost crystal clarity, and you actually feel a very similar sensation to what you felt under the club when Metathiax, when you drank Metathiax, the demon, and you realize that whatever this is, because of that experience, you for some reason have a modicum of control over it, which is good because as these guys are holding you down, you can feel your fingers elongating in sort of spasms, and you feel the edges of the bone beneath your fingertips begin to pierce out of the flesh, the tips of your fingers, becoming sort of elongated claws.
So I'm Wolverine?
No, more like Lady Deathstrike. So it's coming out of your fingers, not out of your joints. As your fingers continue to elongate, you feel your jaw click, and you can almost feel it starting to elongate to basically give you more biting range. And you feel a strength flowing through you, the likes of which you've never felt. For the first and perhaps only time in Blood and Syrup history, Iris Dunn, you temporarily get 4 dots of strength.
Yes. Finally.
And 2 dots of brawl.
What is their game plan here to make you super strong and then try to fight you?
It's almost like they didn't know someone was accidentally inoculated by something earlier, and they done fucked up real bad.
4 on top of the one I already have for strength?
A maximum of 4.
Maximum of 4. Okay, so I'm temporarily at 4. And what was the other one, sorry?
2 to brawl.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Folks, it's time for the Iris Dunn, Emily, last name uncertain, murder parade. Let's do it. Miles, you're being held down by 4 vampires in tactical gear. You can see Iggy's pulse sprinting away down the hall. You hear Emily, in the voice you heard her threaten the meatbags earlier, just being like, "None of you were busting." What do you do?
I'm going to wrap my wrists, because I assume the 2 of them are probably holding my arms down.
Yep.
I'm going to wrap my hands around the wrists of whatever is holding me down by the arms, and I'm going to rip their arms off.
Okay, go ahead and roll for that, please. That'll be, as Ryan can tell you, a strength plus brawl. I'll roll an opposed check for their joints.
4 faceless, nameless vampires just there to get killed. And Everett is nowhere to be seen. Like,
oh, man.
Everett's busy turning someone into a vampire in an alleyway, trying to prevent himself from vomiting human blood.
Yeah. Also, how many hunger dice do you have right now, Tyler?
I've got 3.
Oh, man, and there's 4 of them. You could have like 3 and a snack later.
A sip from each one. Yeah.
Miles.
4 successes with one of them critical success.
Damn. All right. So, you rip off 2 arms. You immediately hear a lot of my favorite kind of SWAT guy mask talk from specifically the Resident Evil games of like, or stormtroopers when a Jedi shows up, just kind of be like, "Wait, what the fuck?" And as the 2 who are kind of like, who've got your legs, kind of start to ease back, one of them's like, "I thought they said she was Toreador. What the fuck is this? What's with this gangrel bullshit?" At which point, Emily leaps. Now, as you'll recall, Emily is inflicted with whatever the fuck werewolfism is in this system.
Lycanthropy?
Yeah, lycanthropy. That's what it is in every system. Colon, the Apocalypse, which is the full name of their system. But yes, she Werewolf the Apocalypse is out. She, unfortunately, there is not a full moon, so she can't go full wolf. But she also might not be fully werewolf. So she leaps through the air with her one arm and just kind of like lands, like just plows one of the guys just lost his arm into the ground. And she's like, look, we have something in common. And then she just starts like pounding the back of his chest against the ground with her one arm. Iris, you can feel your muscles spasming. You think you hear your back crack. And you kind of lurch forward as your physical proportions seem to shift. This is all very unpleasant, and
I'm
you
never going to
sincerely
fit into
hope.
that dress now.
I mean, who knows? Who knows? Tomorrow's a whole day away. So, kind of lurching forward, you have one armless man who's not being pounded to death on the ground. The two who were grabbing your legs are falling back, and they both pull out sort of silvered tactical blades, sort of one in each hand, but they are clearly backing the fuck off. Like, this is not how this was supposed to go down. But they're making their way towards the door. Do you pursue them, or do you deal with the armless man to your right?
No, I go after them.
Okay, so we're going to get into some weird combat rolls. So let's do that, shall we? Miles, go ahead with strength and brawl, please. And I will go the same with my dudes.
Three successes.
Okay, I only got one. So you drive.
I also just want to mention that it's kind of funny because it's a 666, the three successes. Does that count for anything?
I mean, it's highly appropriate dramatically for what's occurring right now, and given what's happening to your body, very appropriate. So you lunge forward. What's your attack look like? Also, given that Iris isn't a fighty person, I've given you brawl largely because when your hands become talons, everything's kind of a brawl. I'm curious what you think Iris attacking someone looks like.
I do want to say it took me a minute on the 666, but I think we call it an unholy moly.
Yay!
You just broke Tyler.
God.
Unholy moly! Oh man, I was wondering what my Vampire the Masquerade shirt was gonna be.
3 dice that say 666 with unholy moly on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, very good, Ryan. Well done. 10 points to Gryffindor. I'm going to give you advantage in a different game because I can't hear. All right. So, Miles, yeah, what is Iris attacking one of these sort of vampire SWAT guys look like?
I unfortunately think it's like Twilight vampires where they're like, it's super swift, super fast, but dangerous. Like it's like surgical strikes, and it's almost like she's moving as a blur.
Cool. Yeah, I think that makes sense, but with the way we've described this and also with what your instinct would be doing, given that you're basically turning into Slender Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so it's just a full-on, like, whereas Ridley's the Sabretooth run, this is just like a multitude of fast claw slashes.
Like the not to reference a bad movie, but the lady Wolverine in 2.
Lady Deathstrike.
Lady Deathstrike. That's who I was
it is Lady
describing earlier.
Deathstrike.
Yep.
Also,
Sorry, I didn't know
X2 is amazing. What are we
didn't
talking
know her
about?
name.
They're not like, look out, it's Lady Deathstrike.
No one says her name.
Yeah.
It's just like, look, she's like you.
Yeah, but with fingies. So yeah, use your razor fingies and you slash that fucker up. The other one is going to leap at you with his blades. Miles, can you please roll me a dexterity and let's go with survival.
You don't want me to win this one, eh?
I gave you fucking claws.
Yeah, unfortunately, turning into a spooky bite slash monster doesn't make it tougher, I guess.
Well, I still got on my 2 dice. I still got 2 successes and 1 critical.
Wow, nice.
Fuck. All right. I rolled a 1 and a 6 and a 1, so I'm gonna say your success, your crit trumps the one. So he goes to drive the blades in, and then suddenly his friend from the ground slams into him as Emily one hand like shot puts the guy into him. That dude reacts very quickly, grabs his friend with the compacted chest and books it. As you continue to hack and slash. Given your current state, do you think you would have the presence of mind to stop slashing this vamp and leave him for Tyler, or are you just like, fuck all this noise, this guy's got to go?
Well, how many do I have? Like, I have the armless one. Is he gone?
There's one armless one who Emily didn't attack, who is dealing with he's like about to rush because they're vampires, so like this fucking sucks, but it's mitigatable. There's the guy you're slashing to ribbons, who I would argue is incapacitated but not dead, because it takes a lot to drop a vamp, and 2 kindred just ran out the door. So the one that Emily was like cracking the chest on, she threw that at the guy who just attacked you, so the 2 of them are gone, running down the hall.
Yeah, I feel though like
Don't stop on my account. I was just joking. Like, isn't it funny?
Oh, no. I agree, though. But I actually think, given that Iris is now aware of this, it might actually be something that occurs to her. But she's also in a frenzy. So
I definitely think I want to keep one. But I think if I can keep the armless one to talk,
that makes sense.
I would probably just tear this motherfucker with the blade to shreds.
Gotcha. All right. So you just keep working. And it's
I would like to tear his throat out if possible.
Yep. With your elongated jaw or with your stabby fingies?
I would like to like tear out his voice box with my fingies, and then if with my elongated jaw, if I could just like sever the head, that'd be nice.
Okay, so you tear out the jaw, or tear out the throat, giving you some, like, room to move.
Yeah.
And then just clamp on either side of the head and twist?
Just go, yeah.
Great, so you crank the head off and spit it out like a fucking sunflower shell.
Yeah.
And you turn back to Emily, who's currently ripping the other arm off the guy on the ground. It would seem that you've regained control of the situation. The other 2 guys are long gone. You've killed one who is slowly kind of falling apart into muck and mud behind you, as vamps are like to do as the body quickly ages. But you do still have one alive who is just muttering like, oh, fuck, ah, fuck.
And I can talk in my state?
Yeah, but give yourself a spooky voice.
Emily.
Yes?
Put him in the snack room.
Oh, good. More. I like that we have fun voices now. So she just grabs him by the head and, like, drags him. It's like a classic, like, Resident Evil monster drag behind the door, and she just boots it shut. And in your head, Miles, you hear a faint voice just say, "You again." Meanwhile, Everett, you are...
I also love that that's not the end of the episode.
Nah, man. Shit got real on our night off. Where are you taking Jocelyn? You're in the Dinkeldorf cab. Did you just dump her in the trunk? Or
Yeah,
like,
she's... Ridley would have forced her to go into the trunk because she will go bestial with hunger.
I will also say she's, like, full on out of it now. She was lung shot, so, like, this is a lot. So it's not like she's doing the classic, like, I'm still awake, though.
It's not that bit where they turn around and Punch is like, wait. And they're like, what?
Yeah.
Okay, I think they move on. No, wait, I'm still here.
Yeah, it's not Will Ferrell in Austin Powers.
So, Everett, what the fuck are we going to do with Jocelyn St. James, now a vampire? I don't want to label too much on you, but you made that choice real quick, which is not usual for you. What's your plan there, Gov?
I don't know right now, Ridley. I'm gonna need to think on it for a minute. Who were those people that attacked us? Did you?
I don't know. They
got
tasted
up-
Russian. I can't explain why. It might not be true, but it's what my heart says.
Did they look like Inquisition?
They're wearing civilian clothes, but I think if you were to venture a guess based on only ambush, because I mean, like Jocelyn was very careful. A, like she was smart enough to kind of know that there was a tail, but B, the fact that they didn't attack her, they waited till you were there, would suggest Inquisition.
Okay. So I think as Everett's sort of more typical faculties return to him, he's starting to kind of like break it down, maybe talking it through with Ridley, just saying like those men probably were Inquisition. They attacked in a group and they were tailing Jocelyn, didn't attack until we were on the scene, us vampires. Makes sense that they'd be Inquisition.
I mean, I'd assume so. They were less armored than you'd fucking think, though, because the other ones we faced have been like SWAT people. But we have a shooter, and we didn't fucking find a shooter. None of my boys had guns. If they had, they probably would have shot off like 3 times into the sky while screaming. But they didn't. So This is fucking layers on layers, mate.
They did have guns.
Oh, well, why
He was
not
shot
have...
with a shotgun, yeah.
Yeah, I will say, Ryan, in your like murder spree,
It didn't matter. I got too close. Okay, well then I'll just take it back instantly. Well, I mean, they all had fucking guns. I didn't check the fucking ammo, and not worth our time because we had to move. But yeah, I would say Inquisition. We don't have anyone else with fucking human militia that would attack us at night. The fucking orphans just drive by and I don't know, yell shit. Like, oh, we die really easy. Sorry about that other fucking time. I assume cowards.
Jocelyn is our best lead on this Drac situation. And I mean, that's turning normal folk into, what'd she say, thin blood vampires?
Yeah, it's doing that fucking shit for sure.
I mean, whether we're vampire or not, that's just against the masquerade, right? Just turning folk willy-nilly in the middle of a club.
Oh, yeah, no, fuck 'em.
Chaos break out.
This
So we
isn't
got to
even
put
one.
a stop to that.
Yeah, this isn't like ecstasy, one of those fun drugs. They're like, shrooms where you're like, I'm going to help you with your PTSD, even though the government says no. No, this is like people who sell fucking heroin at a school ground. You fucking bury them in the ground and you piss on the grave.
Yeah, so we're going to need her help with that. I think for now we wait for the process to run its course, and then we try and talk with her.
Okay, this is
I
kind
don't
of a
know
dark...
what I was thinking.
I hate to do this bit of a reveal to you because you were really caught up in your moment, but she sort of was like, don't let him turn me into a vampire, and then try to kill you, and I stopped her, so now she's a vampire. So we might need to like chain her up, and then at some point, if we don't want her to just stay in a frenzy, we've got to like feed her. And then, I mean, we've got options. She's first of all, I'd like to be clear because you get really caught up in these moral situations, and I don't think you're in one because she's a piece of shit. She fucking murdered police officers to save you because you stole a fucking baby. She didn't know who the fuck they were. They weren't in this fucking game. I mean, they were in a criminal game, but not in the like, I'm here because of the Inquisition. Look at my fucking hat. Bam, bam. Your kids are now going to grow up with fucking no one. Like, she sucks. So we can do what we need to do.
Maybe we get what information we can, and then I'll just, take care of her. I'll finish what those Inquisition boys started.
So this is just kind of hitting a pause on the whole thing.
I guess. I don't know what I was thinking turning her. I don't want to turn everyone that I run into. I don't know.
Right, so you don't want this. What if she doesn't want to go once she turns out to be all spooky vampire eternal lifey?
Well, let's just get back to the bar. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
All right, so I'll call ahead to get them to bring a buffet. Here's the question, though. So I eat pieces of shit, and now Chunky eats narcissists.
Well, you don't eat animals, though, and Harvey eats animals.
No, that one's fucked up. But you know what? Harvey's a special boy. Very airy, very weird. I mean, are you hungry? You haven't fucking eaten in a while. We can get you your thing, and maybe we could make sure whatever you like is in a buffet in case Jocelyn Saint, I don't fucking like vampires over here, needs something to eat.
Well, we'll find out. We got another night to figure this out.
No, we're
she'll
at the
turn-
fucking Elysium tomorrow, and I guess the Bear Boys could watch it chained in a basement, but that doesn't seem quite as moral as I would expect.
I will point out although he would also likely go, Dederick is now kind of on the team, so Dederick could also Dederick rather, could also do this, but he seems like he's been to Elysiums before, so you might actually want to bring him with you.
Yeah, I will also say, up until now, we've sort of had like random street thugs that we can tie up. This one seems like she's probably able to pick a fucking lock and get out of a fucking chain and then kill TJ. And I'm not fucking cool with that. So, I don't know, we could take it to Iris's and see what they fucking got going on there. Maybe Emily's got an idea. It's a fucking building. I just don't want to give her access to the whole fucking operation.
You bought us coffins, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you didn't want one, right? You want to keep sleeping in the office.
Right. I can't remember if you got me one anyway or not.
I probably did. Fuck it. You know what? They'll bring back as many as they do. We could put her in a coffin temporarily. That's fine.
And that way, you're not picking a lock that you're on the inside of.
And we've got Chunky to kind of watch it. Okay, so I'll call ahead and get the buffet set up so that we can feed her. Also, I need to fucking eat because if you haven't noticed, I'm a little bit fucking well done right now. And I'd like to not be so fucking burnt up because of shitface in a fucking trunk. You know what? She deserved it. Fuck her. He starts calling ahead to get the boys to bring him a human he can eat.
Yeah, and Everett will just say, yeah, you know what? Don't bother with her. We'll talk to her hungry. Maybe it'll make her more amenable to talking.
I mean, Everett, I hate to point this out, but do you remember when we saw... Oh, no, yeah, you didn't fucking see it. Let me tell you what a bestial frenzy looks like. Iris, a wonderful little person who loves to make friends and is always like, this is too violent. Well, she kind of screamed and then ripped through the center of someone's torso, yelling incoherently, and then ate the fucking art, and then was kind of still ready to go. And only then, when she was sated, did she come back down to be like, oh, that may not have been the best choice. So if we leave her hungry, we may just have someone going, ah, and then breaking their own arms, ripping out of whatever they're in, and then eating people that don't deserve it.
This is sounding like more and more trouble than it's worth.
Well, no, because you made a great point. You got to remember where you started, because you get lost partway through. We need information about the Drek. She's got information about the Drek. That's all good. Otherwise, this happens to hundreds of other people. We had to burn like 400 people to fucking death last night because of this shit. And that'll happen again.
We can't just be bringing people in off the street, though, guessing what she might be hungry for. I mean, what if she eats kids?
Well, we're not going to bring a fucking kid because then I'll kill her. It's one of my convictions.
Keep saying this conviction stuff.
It was a really big thing in my fucking neighborhood, all right? Everybody had a touchstone and everybody had convictions.
Look, leave it with me, all right? I'll deal with it myself. Your boys went to a daytime construction site and brought a cop back for someone to eat. People don't stop looking for cops after one night, all right? That's going to be on us for a long time. Listen to me out here. Give the boys a break. There's some heat there,
Okay, first of all, we already took care of 2 other boys, but it's really weird to be like, they were more disorganized than me. We got somebody in a fucking trunk, and your answer is, I won't feed her, which doesn't feel terribly moral. You had such a strong emotional connection previously. Where did it go?
I'm just saying I will deal with it, Ridley. I'm not saying I won't feed her. I'm saying I'll deal with it.
Okay, so we put her in a coffin and I handle storage, and then you get to feed her. It's like a real shit zoo.
Sure, yeah. A real fucking shit zoo.
It's also a name of a dog, but I can't come up with the pun.
And with that,
you just did.
The cab pulls up to TJ Malone's. The driver, who is wearing sound-canceling headphones the whole way, and is clearly like, just like humming along to Miley Cyrus's latest bop. Just kind of like nods and waves, completely oblivious to this like incredibly charged, bleak conversation. So having committed to the idea of the shit zoo and Ridley having taken Everett at his word that he'll handle it, Everett, you make your way around to the back of the car. to handle it, only to find the trunk open, the body gone, and an empty vial of Drac.
Oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
This episode of Blood and Syrup features the voices of Ryan LaPlante at the Ryan LaPlante on Twitter, Tyler Hewitt at Tyler_Hewitt on Twitter, Megan Miles at Meggie Miles on Twitter, and Storyteller Tom McGee at McGeeTD on Twitter. This episode's sound was edited and mixed by Laura Hamstra, and all of Dum Dums and Dice's logos are by Decapitated Markers at Decapitated Marker on Twitter. That's MRKR. Our theme songs are What's Really Going On Right Now by Chase Allen Willis and Traffic by Kai Engel, and all our ads use the tracks No Control and Chiefs by Jazzar, that's JAHZZAR. All of their music is available on freemusicarchive.org. When it comes to Dum Dums and Dice, you can visit our website at dumdumdice.com. Our Twitter and Instagram are at dumdumdice, and on Facebook at facebook.com/dumdumdice. We've also got merchandise at redbubble.com/people/dumdumdice. And most importantly, you can join our Patreon of Darkness at patreon.com/dumdumdice. That's DUMBDICE. Sleep well, children of the night. Spooky.
Dum Dums and Dice has to give a special thank you to the supreme beings of our Patreon at this time: Christian Menicola, Long, the Half-Blind Prophet, James Cuellar, Charles Grams, Christopher Little, Olin Anderson, Sue One, George Dolby, One True Artistry, Orion Birchfield, Lord of Bradovic, Noel Lewis, Scott Garland, Anthony Griffin, Chet Awesome Laser, Caitlin O, Zekin X, Jordan Neesmith, Benjamin V, Gavin and Abby McDonald, and Jill and Noel LaPlante. If you want your name to be added to this list, you can join our Patreon too at patreon.com/dumdumdice. Thanks to them, and a little bit of thanks to you.